Hello, and welcome to the third episode of The Grey Warrior's Heart. In this episode, I want to speak about the heart. Now, you will get used to it. I will speak about the heart more and more because the heart is the very key to everything. Things are quite simple if you tune in with your heart. The heart will change your whole life around. The heart will transform your life and other people's life too. So, before you learn to reconnect with your heart, you will need some guidance. So, I said that you can always ask guidance from your spirit guides. We all have spirit guides. We all have light beings that are assigned to us when we incarnate on this physical plane. We all have more than one guide, so we need to learn to work with these guides. And we shouldn't be afraid to ask for help, ask for guidance. These guides are here for that. They won't help us all the time when we think that when we want. They will help us when we truly need their help. So it's very important to acknowledge that they are here, they're always with us, they're always watching us. This is their job, this is what they're doing. They're watching us. And they're helping us through the hardships of life. Now, the human species, human beings, are being wired the wrong way from a very early age. Excuse me. They are being wired the wrong way from a very early age because the system, the society that we live in, created a system. And this system is designed to indoctrinate us. This system is designed to disconnect us from our hearts. This system is designed to cut our cordon to the universe, to cut our universal connection. And this is very, very sad. And it shows the nature of the people running the world and what entities they're working with. But I won't speak about this now. I will do a recording specially for that. Now, the heart is the key to enlightenment. The heart possesses the blueprint for spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and sexual enlightenment. Everything is inside the heart. So you don't need to look any further. You only need to look within. Now, the heart is a living being. It's the purest form of intelligence. The heart is the most intelligent being in the universe. The heart is the being that created everything. What is inside the heart, the energy, the spark of creation at the very, very core of the heart, is what created everything. As I said in one of my previous recordings, the heart is multidimensional, which means that it exists simultaneously on every dimension. various degree, various vibrations, but it's there. Without the heart, there wouldn't be anything. The heart is where everything starts and everything ends. The heart is also timeless, which means that it exists simultaneously on every timeline, which means that the heart is connected to every timeline. It is timeless. That's why the heart can see in the future. That's why your heart knows the future. Your heart can predict the future. And if you know how to tune in with your heart, then you can predict the future too. So the heart possesses an unlimited supply of unconditional love. This is the most powerful energy in the universe. This is the energy that created everything. This is the energy that you use to procreate. This is also the energy that you use to create anything at all in your mind. When we are ready to work with the heart, we can create anything we want. Anything at all. So we have always known that we are the heart. It's nothing new. For example, when we say me or I, and we point at ourselves, we don't point at our head, do we? We point at our heart, because we unconsciously know that this is who we are. This is what we are. The heart is the first organ that forms in the fetus and is the last organ to show activity before we die. Everything starts with the heart, everything ends with the heart. So we need to learn to communicate with the heart. Okay? We need to learn to communicate with the heart the same way that we communicate with anyone. Personally, I am talking to my heart. I am talking to my heart because my heart is the most intelligent being that ever was, and my heart understands my language. It is I that has to relearn the language of my heart, because the heart understands every language, but the heart only speaks one language, and that language is unconditional love. And this is the language that we need to relearn. As I said before, we never really learn anything new. We already know everything. It's all about remembering. So we need to learn the language of the heart again. Now the heart communicates in forms of feelings. Okay, so be aware of any feelings in the heart. Feelings are heart-based emotions. So you need to learn to recognize these emotions. So when you speak to your heart and you ask questions, be really aware. Try to feel your heart inside out and be really aware of any heart-based emotion, any feelings inside your heart. That would be your heart giving you an answer. Okay? Now remember, the heart only speaks in forms of affirmation. The heart can only say yes. And if the heart doesn't want to say yes, it stays silent. So this is one thing to know. Sometimes you ask a question to your heart and you think that you're not getting any answer. The thing is that if you're not getting any answer from your heart, it means that your heart has not got any answer to give you. But your heart will never say no. This is one thing that we should know. The heart will never say no. The heart can only say yes. The heart can only speak through the power of affirmations. And if there is no affirmation to be given, the heart will stay silent. So we must learn to recognize this heart-based emotion. Emotion are energy in motion. They can be felt in the body, so can feelings be felt in the heart. So we must build heart sensitivity in order to perceive its answers. And that takes time and practice, and that takes you to really get within, focus within, focus in your energy field, and forget everything that's happening on the outside. At that moment, you need to internalize, you need to focus within in order to sense anything happening inside the heart. So basically, when you speak to your heart and you ask a question, you have to be really silent and look within your heart for any answer. Sometimes you need to search. You really need to search your heart for an answer. And that's very important. Because like I said, the heart will always give you a truthful answer. The heart will always give you a righteous answer, no matter what the question is. And if there is no truthful or righteous answer to be given by your heart, then your heart will stay silent. So it is very important to reconnect with our heart. Something that we haven't done for a very, very long time because of the society, because of the system created by the people running this society. They do not want us to be connected to our heart. They do not want us to be connected to the universal heart. They want us disconnected from ourselves, from our heart, from each other, so that we are more controllable. And that's very sad. That's very, very sad. So what I'm going to speak about now is how to reconnect with your heart. In order to reconnect with your heart, you have to regain the long lost trust from the heart. The thing is that we have done so many bad things in this lifetime and in previous lifetime because this is what the society has taught us. This is what the system of this society has taught us to do. So we are unconscious. And when we are unconscious, we do the wrong things without even knowing that we're doing the wrong things, because this is how we're being taught. We've been taught to be unconscious. As I said to you, the system created by this society is designed to disconnect us from our heart, disconnect us from ourselves, and disconnect us from each other, disconnect us from the universe. So we must make a conscious decision to reconnect with the heart. That's very important. It needs to be a conscious decision. And our intentions must be pure, or the heart won't let us in. You cannot trick the heart. It's impossible. The heart cannot be tricked. The heart knows everything. And if there is an ounce of dishonesty in your voice, in your intentions, then the heart will see it and you won't be allowed in. The heart will never allow us in if our intentions are not pure. We cannot trick the heart. That's impossible. The heart is the creator that created everything. And that's impossible to trick the heart. So, very important, our intentions must be pure if we want the heart to let us in. So we must apologize to the heart for all the hurt that we've caused to the heart, to ourselves, to our body, and to others. Think about how many ways that we are hurting ourselves, hurting our own body by eating the wrong thing, drinking the wrong thing, by breathing the wrong thing, and by consuming the wrong information. Poison is not only in the food, in the water, in the air that we breathe, it's also in the information, the energy that we consume on TV, on the radio. This is why I said, bin your TV. You don't need this. You don't need this propaganda, mind control. The TV is a tell, lie, vision. I got rid of mine when I was 14 years old. Never bought one after that. And that's the best thing I ever done. I'm so much happier. So, by watching these programs, and they're called programs for a reason, okay, just look into MK Ultra. I don't want to get into that, but if that's something that interests you and you want to know what the TV has been created for, then look into MK Ultra, Project MK Ultra. When you look at these programs are designed to disconnect you with your heart. These programs are designed to insert subliminal messages in your unconscious mind. And these subliminal messages are very powerful and very negative in nature because they are designed to disconnect you from your heart and disconnect you from the universe and ultimately disconnect you from yourself and others. And this is why we must this is why we must be conscious of this food, water, air, and information that we consume. It must be pure. It must be organic. By organic, that means that it must fit a certain vibration, a healthy vibration that is going to raise our vibration and not lower it. Something that's going to bring unconditional love in our life and not fear. So this is why we must consciously apologize to ourselves, to the universe, to our heart, to the universal heart, for all the hurt that we've caused, consciously or unconsciously. Our apology to the heart must be sincere, because if it isn't, the heart will know, and the heart won't let us in. Now, remember one thing, the heart forgives. The heart always forgives. The heart will always forgive, because this is what the heart does. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. But if you do not change, if we are not willing to change inside of us, if we don't have that conscious this conscious decision that, right, I'm truly sorry for what I did. I acknowledge and I realize that what I did was wrong, and I end up hurting myself or hurting people or hurting others, hurting my heart. And because I acknowledge this, I know I will never do it again. I know I am really sorry, and I will never do this again. Now, if you are sincere, the heart will see it, the heart will perceive it, the heart will know it, and you will be let in. You will get the forgiveness that you need in order to get in. So this is very important. Our apologies to the heart must be sincere. Now, forgiveness will help us move forward. Okay? So we must truly forgive ourselves and truly forgive others. That's very important. Even if we think, right, that wasn't my fault and that person's been really nasty to me, and that person doesn't deserve me to forgive that person for what that person did to me. But sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's about being able to move forward. Sometimes we have to forgive people, even if we don't want to. We have to forgive them for ourselves so that we can move forward. And this is why forgiveness is very, very important. Sometimes we need to forgive ourselves for bad things that we did in the past because we were unconscious and we didn't know what we were doing back then. But right now we develop the emotional intelligence to be able to see and realize and recognize that what we did was the wrong thing to do. So we need to forgive ourselves for what we did. And that is very important, because without forgiveness we can't move forward. The heart will always forgive. If you tune into your heart, you will always be able to forgive people. It doesn't matter who they are, what they do, even if they've done the most atrocious things that you can ever think of. If you truly tune in to the very core of your heart, you will be able to forgive anything to anyone. Forgiveness is very important, and it's not easy. Forgiving people can be very difficult sometimes, especially if people did something really, really bad and they're not sorry about it. It's very difficult to forgive. Forgiving doesn't mean that we are. Let me give you an example. If a friend of yours did something really, really bad to you, and you realize that your friend, longtime friend, did something really, really bad to you, you will be hurt. Of course you will be hurt. And the time will pass and you will still be hurt until you decide to move on. And in order to move on, you're going to have to forgive that person, your friend. It doesn't mean that that person will be the same friend as that person used to be. You might not even wish to talk to that person any longer, but you still have to forgive them if you want to move forward. And that's what I mean by forgiving. So sometimes, yes, when people do something wrong and they're not sorry, and you know that they're not sorry, it's very, very difficult to forgive them. But if you want to move forward, you must forgive them. It doesn't mean that you're going to be best friend again and you're going to go and talk and spend time together the same way that you used to. But it means that there will be no trapped anger within you, nothing preventing you from moving forward energetically. Okay? That's why forgiveness is very, very important. So you must truly forgive yourself and forgive others. If need be, you can use tears to transmute trapped pain. Now, I know that we live in a society where we're being led to believe that men are men and real men don't cry, and this is nonsense. This is nonsense. We all do cry. Men do cry. Men have a heart too, and men do cry. When I had my spiritual awakening back in 2012, I cried a lot. I never cried so much in my whole life. It was like I was holding my tears all my life, and I cried so much. And I was watching stuff. I was watching what man was doing to this planet and to defenseless animals, and I was crying. I was crying so much. Like I said, I don't think I ever cried so much. And by crying, I released a lot of pain. I realized that I had a lot of pain in myself, in my mind, even in my heart. And I had to release that pain. I had to purge it. I had to find a way to purge it. And the best way to purge it was tears, through tears. Tears is pain leaving your body. So crying is the best way to transmute trapped pain. So never let anyone tell you that men don't cry and real men don't show weakness, and that is nonsense. We all have a weakness, and our strength is our ability to acknowledge that weakness so that that weakness can be strengthened. So tears are very useful. What you can do in order to check your whole body, your whole universe, your whole inner universe for trapped energies, you can use a mental scanner. Something that I have been taught by my heart. Use a mental scanner. When you close your eyes and you send a wave, you use your brain to send a wave from the top of your body to the very bottom of your body. So you use your head, your brain, to send a wave down your body, and you need to feel that wave traveling from your brain down your face, your neck, your torso, your lower abdomen, your groin, your legs, your knees, your shins, your ankles, your feet, and your toes. You need to feel this scanner. It's a wave that you send to scan your whole body for trapped energy. And if there is any trapped energy in your body, then you will sense it. And once you sense where it is, then you can draw it out. Just ask it. Always ask your heart for guidance, or ask your spirit guides. Always ask for guidance. Okay? Always ask, what's the best way to deal with this trapped energy? How do I transmute this trapped energy that's preventing me from moving forward? Now remember, when you speak to the heart, you speak to the universal heart. When you speak to your heart, you speak to all hearts, because every heart is connected. It's all interconnected. Now I'm going to speak about etheric rewiring, and that is very important. That was one of the very first things that I have been taught by my heart, that we human beings are wired the wrong way because of the system created by this society. So I use the analogy of the Picasso painting. Picasso, the famous painter, and one of his most famous painting where it's a head and everything is the wrong way, like the mouth is where the eye should be and the ear is where the mouth should be, and it's just like everything is the wrong way around. Everything is wired the wrong way. Well, this is the same thing in our etheric body. The physical body, what you can see in the mirror, is only the physical body. We have many, many bodies. We're shaped like onions. We have layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of bodies. Okay? It's the auric field and also different bodies. So we got the spiritual body, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, and then we got even other bodies that are thinner or thicker. Okay? I don't want to get into that too much, but you want to be able to clean your energy bodies, yeah, and you want to make sure that your energy body, your etheric body, or your ethereal body is wired the right way for a good functioning and for a good development, a good growth for your spiritual development. So the very first thing is to understand that the society has led us to believe that the brain is the most important thing, and that the brain is basically ruling everything. The brain is ruling us. The brain is the most important thing in the human body. Well, that is just not true. Okay. If you look into the Heart Math Institute, where it's a group of scientists that basically done a lot of research on the heart and realized that the heart is communicating with the rest of the body much more than the brain. The heart is sending more signal to the brain and the body than the brain is sending to the rest of the body and to the heart. So the very first thing that we need to do is to dethrone the brain. Take the brain off its throne, because the mind is not king. The mind is not fit to rule. And that is very important for us to understand. The mind is not fit to rule. The mind is not fit to rule. The mind is not king. The mind is not king. So you dethrone the mind, you dethrone the brain, okay? Take the brain off its throne and propose the throne to the heart and see what happens. When you propose the throne to the heart, you realize that the heart doesn't want the throne. The heart doesn't want the throne because the heart doesn't want to rule. The heart doesn't want to rule. But if you really ask, heart, why don't you want to rule? I would have you as my ruler any time of the day, any day of the week, because I know that you always make righteous decisions. And the heart will say yes. And this is why I don't want to rule. I am not fit to rule. I do not want to rule. Because when you rule, you take people's right away from them. You don't ask them for permission. You just rule them. So the heart doesn't want to rule. If you really ask your heart for help, your heart will accept to become your guide. Okay? So as of this moment, what we're going to do is elect our heart, elect the heart as the sole guide and friend of our life. So that's very important. The heart just refused the throne, but accepted to become our guide. So we need to celebrate this. Once you do this, okay, you realize this is a visualization work. This is something that you need to do in meditation, okay? So you need to allow proper breath work in order to lower your brain waves and be more receptive to any etheric rewiring, etheric changes in your body. And you need to use visualization for that in order to take your brain off the throne. You have to speak to your heart, as I said. You have to be somehow connected to your heart. Your heart has to trust you at that point, because if your heart doesn't trust you, you're not going to be able to make this. You're not going to be able to speak to your heart if your heart doesn't trust you. That's why I said to you that your intentions must be pure. If your intentions are pure, then your heart will accept working with you, because your heart will see your potential, that you have the potential to contribute to life and to help life grow, which ultimately is the main goal here, to reconnect with the source. And the best way to reconnect with the source is to connect with our heart. So once you do all this and you visualize, you speak to your heart, and you realize that your heart doesn't want the throne, but your heart will accept to become your guide, then you have to celebrate this. That will make you so happy. This reunion, this rewiring of your heart and brain is something that you will want to celebrate. So you need to make sure that you celebrate that. You need to love your heart. You need to love the heart. You need to love the universal heart. You need to love yourself, because your heart, the universal heart, loves you and everyone, because it created you and everyone else. So you need to return that love. You need to feed this relationship. It's a love relationship between you and your heart. So you continue with your visualization, and you need to rewire your heart and your brain. Now your heart is the most important being in your body. It doesn't feel the most important being in your body because the heart is very, very modest. But you have to treat it as the most important thing in your body, because the heart is the only being that can save you. The heart is the only being that can teach you how to stop suffering. The heart is the only being that can prevent your suffering from happening. It can completely eliminate suffering. Your heart possesses the roadmap to enlightenment, to spiritual enlightenment. Your heart can fill your being with light. So you need to feed that relationship. And don't worry, you're not going to be the only one feeding that relationship. You realize that when you truly feed that relationship, then the heart will give you more and more and more and more. As you deserve more, you will get more. So you need to rewire your whole body in function of the heart. And ask guidance. As I said, I will repeat this many times, but we must ask guidance. When we are not sure, just ask the heart. Ask guidance from the heart. Give every decision to the heart. But that doesn't mean that the heart will make decision for you. The heart, in fact, will tell you, you are the one that has to make the decision. The heart cannot make decision for us, but it can guide us. If the heart was to make decision for us, then it would be a ruler. But the heart doesn't want to rule. And that's why the heart doesn't want the throne. The heart can guide. And we, pardon me, we are the one that must make conscious decisions. So we can always ask the heart for guidance, because the heart will always give a honest answer and a truthful answer. The heart will always give us a righteous answer. So we must always validate with the heart first before making any decision. That's very important. The heart will always give us the free will, and that is why the heart can never decide for us. That is why the heart doesn't want to rule, because of the free will. When there is unconditional love, there is free will. If you truly love somebody unconditionally, you will give them the choice to make their own mistake, the choice to follow their own path. It doesn't mean that you can't advise people. If you love people, of course, you're going to give them advice. You're going to guide them in some way, but you can't make a decision for them. And that's the same thing with the heart. The heart cannot make decision for us. The heart will show us the way, but it is us, the unlimited conscious awareness experiencing reality, that must make conscious decision on our own, because we are the unlimited conscious awareness experiencing reality and making conscious decisions. So we need to embody the heart. Ultimately, as you learn to work with your heart, you need to merge with it. You need to embody. You need to become the heart by merging, by fusing with it. You can once again use visualization when you meditate, and your mind is silent. Your brain waves are lowered, so your mind is more receptive to any soul work, any energetic work that you wish to do on yourself. So you have to go through something that I call conscious heart fusion, or conscious heart merging, if you will. Visualize your heart merging with the universal heart. Okay, so you draw a straight line from the core of your heart to the core of the universal heart, and just visualize it shooting from there to there and merging, visualizing your heart and the universal heart just merging into one heart. And the way to do it right is to really focus on the core of the heart. You need to visualize that spark, the spark of creation, this light of creation, the most divine and pure and bright light right at the core of your heart, must merge with the most bright light at the core of the universal heart. This is the light that you need to merge with. You need to merge your own light with the light of creation. And ultimately, your own light inside your heart is the light of creation. But this is how you perform this conscious heart fusion, if that makes any sense. Now, this technique can be used also if you want to get closer to your loved ones. If you want to get closer to your loved ones, then this is something that you can do. You can visualize their heart and your heart, and you can visualize the spark of creation inside your heart and the spark of creation inside their heart, and draw a straight line from yours to theirs and just merge it, fuse with them. And you will see, you will feel so much closer to these people. Your love will become so much more powerful because you will feed that love with the light of your consciousness, with the spark of creation inside the very core of your heart. So visualize the spark of creation from your heart, fusing with the spark of creation from the universal heart. The heart will help you connect to your right brain. The right brain is also referred to as the female brain. It is the brain that is associated with your instinct, with your natural instinct, with abstract, with curved lines and art. It's your artistic self, your female self, if you will. If you look into the Hermetic principles, you realize that one of these principles is the principle of gender. We all have both characteristics. Men do possess both male and female characteristic on a mental, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, sometimes even on a physical level. Some men look more manly than others. Some female look more manly than others. So these two energies are present within our body, our mind, our emotions, our spirit. Okay? So by tuning to your heart, you will get closer to your right brain. You will get closer to your feminine side. Okay? On a spiritual, on a mental, on an emotional level, you will reconnect to your divine feminine nature, if that makes any sense. Now, we live in a society that is highly left brain, because, like I said, because the society that we live in created a system that is designed to disconnect us from our heart. And the best way to disconnect us from our heart is to create an imbalance. And so they've created a massive imbalance in our psyche by raising the left brain and lowering the right brain, create this imbalance in the human psyche, in the human consciousness, that ultimately does disconnect us from our hearts and from each other. So that's very important. By connecting to your heart and doing this work with your heart, you will raise your right brain, and it will be getting more and more synchronized with the left brain. And that is a constant work that you have to do, because it's, remember the analogy of the ship and the ocean and the storm. It's difficult to keep your ship up, up and stable. So that's the same thing with the two hemispheres of your prefrontal lobe of your brain. It's difficult to keep these two characteristics synchronized in order to create the perfect equilibrium. But this is the very basics of the great work of spiritual alchemy, is to find the perfect equilibrium between the left side and the right side, between the light and the darkness, between love and fear, between your masculine nature and your feminine nature. And that is very, very important. So like I said, the dominating left brain in this society led to an imbalance in the human psyche that disconnected us from our heart and ultimately the universal heart. Bringing left and right hemispheres to synchronization will create the equilibrium needed in order to activate the pineal gland. Now, if you look into the pineal gland, you will realize that this is something that the church has been keeping secret for many, many years. It was there, but all the information is there. Okay, if you dig deep enough, we got the internet now, all the information is there, all the books are there, but you must consciously, you must make the conscious decision to move towards that information. Like in the Kybalion, they said that the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. So you must be ready to receive that information. And the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. The pineal gland is like an eye that you have inside your brain. It should be pine cone sized, but because of all the poison that they put in our food, in our water, in our mind, in our air, it has reduced its size to raisin size. So it's very important to learn to decalcify this pineal gland in order to activate it. It is basically the projector, the screen projector. When you close your eyes and you dream and you can see the pictures in your dream, like if you were there, it comes from a projector inside your brain. And that projector is the eye, the third eye. The pineal gland is that projector. That projector has a lens, and that lens must be clean, because it's been calcified by a lot of poison that they put in our food and water and air and mind. So by connecting to your heart, by really truly making the conscious decision to reconnect to your heart and bring the left and right hemispheres of your brain to synchronization, to the same level, then you will create an equilibrium that will activate your pineal gland. And the more your pineal gland is activated, the easier it is for you to visualize and to do this work of visualization. Okay. And once we are ready, when we unlock our DNA, when we unlock all what they call the junk DNA, which is no junk, because if it was junk, the body would reject it. The body is the most intelligent machine. If anything is not meant to be in the body will reject it. The junk DNA is not junk DNA. It's unactivated DNA. It's dormant DNA. Dormant because of the society, and the system created by this society is designed to keep this DNA dormant. Because if we activate this DNA and we activate the pineal gland, reconnect to our heart, bring both brain hemisphere to the same level, bring them to synchronization in order to create that equilibrium, to activate the pineal gland, and ultimately awaken this DNA, this dormant DNA, activate this dormant DNA, then we're going to start using more cerebral capacity, and we're going to start to be able doing things that we never thought were possible, except in science fiction movies. This is the nature of the universe we live in. It's a magical universe where everything is possible. And if you listen to your heart, you will realize that everything is possible. Everything at all, anything at all. Limitations can only exist in the mind. Our mind creates limitations. And like anything that you repeat with enough repetition, it becomes our reality. So the pineal gland will expand the third eye. And by expanding the third eye, we will be able to visualize things much more accurately, with more focus and more concentration. And by doing so, through meditation, we will manage to activate this dormant DNA little by little, with repetition. As I said, repetition is the mother of all skills. So, just to recap everything that I spoke about in this episode, which is very, very important. Speaking about the heart is very, very important. And I will speak about the heart more and more and more, because the secret of life is inside the heart. So acknowledge that you are your heart. You always were and always will be your heart. If you are disconnected from your heart, which it is very likely depending on what type of person you are, how you perceive light, and how you perceive life, if you feel like you are disconnected to your heart, then talk to it. Make the conscious decision to connect to your heart again. If you are beating yourself up for certain things that you did when you were younger, or if you're still angry at somebody that hurt you when you were very young, and now it's part of your psyche, this anger, this trapped anger is inside your body, your inner universe, and it's trapped, and you have to release that energy. Use the scanner technique that I've told you about. Remember, all these things are things that I have been given to me by my heart. If my heart can give me these tools to develop myself, to grow, to evolve, then your heart can give you your own tools to develop yourself, to grow and to evolve. Remember, the teachings of the heart are the same. It's all going the same way. All hearts are ultimately interconnected to the universal heart, and we all want the same thing. So make the conscious decision to connect to your heart. Work with your heart. Speak to your heart. Don't be afraid to speak to your heart. It's very important. You realize that the heart will give you answers if you are really conscious and really aware, and you try to sense things inside your heart when you speak to it. Try to achieve this mind silence when you speak to your heart, and look out for answers. Remember that the heart always speaks in forms of affirmations, and if the heart has no righteous answer to your questions, it will stay silent. Become the heart. Merge with the heart consciously once you are ready. Maybe you have to forgive yourself. Maybe you have to forgive other people before your heart can let you in. The heart cannot let any anger enter it. hate, anger, any negative energy can never enter the heart. It's just impossible. The heart will never allow it to happen, because the heart has its own defense mechanism. And believe it or not, the heart is capable of fighting. The heart is probably the best fighter ever. The heart is capable to go to war at a very extreme of unconditional love. The heart is ready to fight for survival. Remember that. And so the heart will never allow any anger to cloud itself. And that is why if you have anger in your universe, if you have trapped energy, trapped negative energy in your universe, you have to transmute it before your heart can fully trust you, before your heart can fully let you in. But once your heart lets you in, remember one thing. Yes, your heart has got your back. Yes, your heart will give you the guidance, but your heart cannot make decisions for you. So you are still able to make the wrong decisions. And we do, And when we do, you realize that every time you make the wrong decisions, your heart will step a bit further away from you, because your wrong decision will disconnect you from your heart. A little bit, or maybe a lot, depending on what decision you make. That is why you need to validate things with your heart first. Always ask your heart for guidance. Always ask your heart for a righteous answer. And if your heart doesn't give you any answer, then, put one and one together and realize why. Maybe there is no righteous answer to your question. So yes, you can connect to your heart, but you can also disconnect to your heart. It can be done consciously, and unfortunately, it can also be done unconsciously. So once you connect to your heart, your way of life will change. The way that you communicate to yourself will change. The way that you communicate to others and the way that you see others will change, because there will be that righteous voice inside your head all the time saying, don't judge these people. Why are you swearing? Why are you calling these people name? Why are you doing this? This is lowering your vibration. You don't need to do that. You can do it if you want, but you don't need to do that. That's my guidance. That's your heart give you guidance. And then you make your own decision. So merging with your heart doesn't make you reach enlightenment straight away. Your heart gives you teachings, and you have to follow these teachings. And if you are a good student, you will see the results. You will be so much happier. You will be so much healthier. People around you will know that you are this great person that they want to be around, because they can feel this positive energy emanating from you, because you are in touch with your heart. And also, ultimately, share this knowledge. This is what I'm doing with you right now. Share this knowledge widely. Any teachings from your heart, share it. The more you share these teachings, the more the heart wants to give you more. The heart wants its teaching to be shared with the world, especially in this world that is ruled by the mind. This planet, this part of the universe is ruled by the mind, and the mind is clouded by darkness. And in darkness are hiding all these dark entities that are trying to feed of us, as I spoke about them in my last recording. But inside the heart is light, the purest light of all. That's why there can never be lies in the heart. Because if there was lies in the heart, then you would be able to see it straight away, because the light would shine onto the darkness and the lies would be uncovered and unveiled and discovered. So There can never be lies inside the heart. There is only light inside the heart. And if you are merging with your heart, you are becoming this light. And by becoming this light, you can shine this light onto your darkness, the darkness of your unconscious mind, and get rid, transmute all these negative entities into positive entities. So this is very serious work. This is a work of spiritual alchemy. Always use your heart as a guide, because your heart knows everything. Speak to your heart. Don't be afraid to speak to your heart. And follow its teaching as much as you can. And I promise you that your life will change. I hope that you enjoyed this recording. Remember, wherever you are, I love you all. Thank you.